And
That's why I never played snooker. I've never had any strategy in sport
yeah,
or in life. That's why I'm on this
well,
crappy
well,
podcast. But I do my
Red
best.
Hot Underdogs rising tonight. Anzac and Drew, we bringing the fight. Talk about the game ain't just one side. Whistles blowing, sirens loud lights. Energy pumping, scheming plot. Nothing too small, nothing forgot. Boxing gloves and footy kicks. Sport and no sport.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Red Hot Underdogs. I'm here, I'm Anzac, and I'm with tonight the ever incredible, long contained, often imitated, never duplicated. Put your hands together for Isabella.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Isabella. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast that's always full of surprises and sometimes even special guests. Shout out to you, Isabella.
And what a week of sport, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm in Queensland, I just
Yes.
thought I'd get that off the the
Off your
get that
chest?
up and running. Yep, yep, up and
Yeah,
running.
absolutely.
Yep, yep, in Queensland.
Beautiful sunny Queensland where the
Sunny
rain has
Queensland.
finally stopped. Excellent.
God's country. Do they call it God's
Yeah,
country?
they do.
Okay, all right. Izzy wants to say something about a dog.
Absolutely.
Um, and also, as you know me as Izzy's podcast today, um, I want to speak about my dog. I bought him new and my dad. So, but first
Yep.
of all, when we were sitting down, my dad called a lady and she said hello, and we got the dog for a trial. And then when we got the dog from for a trial, um, then we started to um then I was really good with it because I picked up all the poos and
Picked up the boots.
yeah.
Is that it? Is that it?
Oh,
Okay, all right. Okay.
This is a great story.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
good, but let's so good. Let's just get to the end.
and
Yeah.
then we bought it, and then my dad texted my mom, "Do not buy the puppy.
Yeah, that's
Let
true.
me at 3 a.m."
Yeah.
And he bought the
And she bought the puppy.
brought
We
the
got a puppy. That's
So
it.
first of all, at school, I was really scared of my mom. In the car, my mom said, Izzy, we didn't buy the puppy. And then I was crying. But then when I got home, I figured out that the puppy was there. So then yeah. And then,
That's
Fantastic.
it. Big hand for Isabella.
Yay.
Okay.
You know what? My life is so much richer for that
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
my puppy.
Okay.
And beautiful
Right
puppy.
now you got to listen to two.
Awesome.
Okay, you got to
I
listen.
love that
Yeah,
story. That's a
it was
great
good. It was
story.
good. But let's talk about much more important things than puppy dogs, and that is the
My
week in
dad
sport.
also has.
Ah, yes. Okay, there's a puppy.
Fantastic.
Okay, no more
Kicking
puppy.
goal.
That's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Speaking of
let's
kicking
talk about
goals,
sport. Yeah, yeah,
the
sport.
old Sea Eagles haven't been kicking goals recently. So just to rattle off the week's sport
Yep.
and the NRL scores,
One.
unfortunately the Dragons beat the Sea Eagles 20 points to 18. The
Horrible.
Bulldogs annihilated the Rabbitohs 32 to 0. The mighty Dolphins scored a massive upset and gave a hiding to the Storm 42 to 22.
Huge.
Nobody saw that coming.
No one.
What's the Warriors and our Warriors again after beating the Broncos 20 points to 18. The
Huge.
mighty Panthers get their second win of the year,
Yep.
first one since the mighty Vegas. 40 points to 12 over the Roosters.
The
The
Roosters. The big
Raiders
Roosters.
30
Oh, yeah.
over the mighty Titans 20. The Sharks 34 beat the hapless Knights 14. And
Yes.
obviously tomorrow you still have the Eels and Tigers to
Yeah.
play.
Which I think is going to be good. Yeah, Parramatta Eels, good girl. Um,
Yeah, very good.
so I mean, disappointing about Manly. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or there's other stuff you want to get into? Because I wanted to talk about a couple of things tonight as well. Some
Yeah,
big,
not necessarily about Manly. Look, it'll just they're looking a bit clunky at the moment, a bit disjointed. So
Yep.
hopefully they can regain their form. But one team that is absolutely annihilating the competition and the absolute surprise packet of the year has been the Canterbury
Yeah,
Bulldogs.
isn't it huge?
Absolutely
Are
amazing.
they going to win this year?
There's a very strong possibility. I mean, look, it's still very early to tell. Anything can happen from this point on.
Yep.
What I will say though is this is when I look at some team like the Bulldogs and then I look at the Sea Eagles, I see the Bulldogs playing with structure. I see them playing with poise and purpose and composure. They've actually got a method to how they play. And then I look at the Sea Eagles and I think, hey, maybe you should be taking notes out of that book.
Yeah, yeah. And I know maybe I'm the jumping the gun talking about this week, but being in Brisbane, the Doggies play Brisbane this Thursday. Huge game. I know Brisbane have been off a little bit. Doggies are better. Who's going to win that at Suncorp Stadium with 60,000 fans?
Oh, look, I like the Bulldogs. I've got
Yeah,
to say,
yeah,
I just think that they're right in the zone, completely dialed in right now.
yeah,
I mean, even the Broncos have had a few losses recently.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
for as good as what the Broncos are, I just love the way that the Bulldogs are going right now.
yeah.
They're
They've
methodically
got like,
tearing teams apart. They're not undefeated for for any other reason than they're just playing well. It's not luck.
yeah, 65,000 watch them win. Huge, huge numbers.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
going to
yeah.
get bigger? Is that going to get bigger?
Yeah. So, look, and I don't want to, I don't want to rain on their parade because it was a great crowd figure,
Yeah,
but I must preface, they were giving away $10 tickets to the
yeah,
top
yeah,
tier. They
yeah.
would have been the kind of tickets I'd be buying because,
But you know what? Like, how good is that? Like giving away $10
yeah.
tickets, like to get people into it. Because you bring your kids, you bring your friends, the guys go, the girls go, you go on dates, and bring like, do we need to do that? Like, is that rugby league winning again, doing stuff like that? I heard about that and I just thought that's a great thing. It needs to happen more because live sport at a professional level is too expensive. It really is.
Look, it's nothing that you could do on a regular basis. So obviously you couldn't do it too often, but every now and then I'd be happy with it.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, like
yeah.
once a round thing, could it, or a few times a round thing, could it be the $10 round thing? Like
I think look, I think you could bring it in maybe every 6 rounds or something.
yeah,
Obviously, so 4 times a year roughly
yeah.
in the rugby league competition because obviously the rugby league doesn't want to lose too much money and they're not in the business of doing that.
But is it
I
going to
know
lose
they want
money?
to be
Because
charitable, but you know how business
how
is.
many people of that 65,000 are going to say, I want to join now or I want to come more often? Like
Yeah,
it's not really losing money, is it? If it's
no.
paying fans.
No, not at all. And you know what? They have enough days where they politicize the sport and sort
Yep.
of have a women's round or an Aboriginal round or this or that or the other. There's
Yep.
no reason why they can't
Yeah.
do every
What are they
maybe,
going to call
as
it?
I say, every 6 weeks, like they have a certain label on a round, which
Yeah.
it's just sort of a smoke screen for making it a
Yeah.
tight ass Tuesday or
I
tight
was
ass
thinking, I was about to say
round.
tight ass round. It's tight ass round,
Yeah,
but
tight
it
ass
shouldn't be
round.
tight ass round because like it's better, bring a friend round or opportunity
Yes.
or something like that, you know?
Yeah, they're going to gloss it up with a certain title, like a window cleaner might call themselves a visual engineer.
Yeah,
So
visual engineer.
they'll
Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
gloss it up with something in some sort of department like that.
yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, but there's one more game I wanted to talk about, and
yeah,
that is the Dolphins that
yes.
you said would come last this year. You predicted coming last year, beating the team that you said, sorry, you said, uh, coming first this year. Is his second favorite team is the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Is he?
But very strange.
Dolphins beat the Melbourne Storm and smashed them and came from behind. Talk about that.
Well, this is what happens when you do a prediction ladder at the beginning of the year. And
Yeah.
that's always the fun part because you can look as though you know absolutely nothing about the sport,
Yeah.
even though you've watched countless games in your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I
But
think if you're in a tipping comp this year, you're probably doing better if you know bugger all about NRL. The
has
more you know,
yeah,
the worse you probably go this year.
has there ever been ever in your memory a year, a competition, any sport where there has been this many upsets?
Yeah, look, usually throughout each year, there's just a general
Yep.
form guide as to where
Yep.
people generally pick all the, like about, so you might have 7 games in the round, and there's usually a form guide whereby people will get at least 5 right, and they might get the other 2 wrong, which are
Yep.
kind of closely contested, or 4 and 3, they might get 3 wrong if it's a harder round. But this year, it's just, who knows?
It
It's
really.
throw a dart in the dark and hope it lands on a bullseye.
I
It's
remember once, I don't know if you remember this, but we were doing a tipping comp, and this is over a decade ago, right? Uh,
yeah,
when we used to get the newspaper and we
sure.
remember newspapers and we used to read
Yeah,
papers,
back in the
you
day.
get your
Yeah,
tips through newspapers. Um,
yeah.
and I was going that badly that one week I did all my tips with you, and then I was like, bugger it, Drewy, like change them all. Whatever I said, can you remember who I did this with you?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Change them. And I did, and I didn't do that well. But if that was 2025, then I would
Yeah.
have smashed it that week.
Then
I
you'd be
really would have.
killing it.
Yeah, isn't it
Absolutely.
amazing? And great for the Dolphins. I think they really are winning up here.
Yeah.
You see Dolphins merchandise everywhere. It's, a new area, new team. It's working. It really is working up here. I'm pumped. I'm really pumped. Rugby league is up here.
Yeah, the Dolphins is working. Unfortunately, the poor old Titans still isn't after all of this time. I
Yeah.
don't know whether it's because it's the holiday strip or God's waiting room where people go to die, but you know, one way or another, unfortunately, as much as I love the Titans, it's never
Yeah.
really taken off like North Queensland has, like
Has
obviously
ever.
Brisbane have, and
What's the
like what it
best?
seems like the Dolphins will.
So, sorry, I
Yeah.
keep interrupting, but what's the best? Just, well, I want to move on from rugby league real soon, but what is
Mm.
the best that the Titans have ever done? Ever?
I will say one year, I can't remember what year it was. I think it was around 2010 or 2011. Don't quote me on this. They actually, I do believe, might have got to a preliminary final,
Okay, all right.
which is the game before the grand final, but they've never ever got close to that since.
Yep,
And most years I can't remember the last time they made a semi-final.
yep, yep.
Oh, yeah,
Like, I actually wanted to talk about a couple of non-rugby league things. I know there's a surprise there.
yeah,
You sent me a text message and you said, talk about this, talk about that.
yeah.
Were there any other big things in sport? So is now a good time for me to throw that on you?
Sure, sure.
Okay, all right. Now, Isabella's here on iPad. She's not interested, but
Yeah,
I've, I've got two things to say to you that were big in sport this year. This
yeah,
year, this week. Okay.
yes,
Now,
yes.
this bloke called Jackson Page on the
Mm.
April 14th got da, 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 two 147s in one professional match of snooker.
That is amazing, particularly if you're a snooker fan. So, me, I would not know what the hell you're talking about, but I would gather that that is a perfect score.
Yeah,
Am I right?
perfect score.
Sinking all the balls.
So a 147 is a perfect score.
Yeah,
And thanks for asking because I wanted to, like to go through it. So there's 15 reds and there's
yeah,
15, there's colors, all the colors, and
sure.
it's 36 shots. going from red
Mm.
to black to red to black. And just to sum up, like, the snooker world's obviously small compared to rugby league or soccer,
Yes.
these major
Yeah,
sports.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
But
sure.
professional matches are happening all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
There's lots of people that play snooker. And it's not just, I mean, people just think it's Britain, but it's becoming really popular in, China and Asia, like where
Yeah.
where those type of games are popular. And to sum up, there has been 185 thereabouts
Mm.
maximum breaks or 147s
Yeah.
recorded in professional history. So
Wow.
think of all those matches that go on.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
many, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's not many. Um,
Yeah.
so you can compare it to a few things. You can compare it to a hole in one in
Yep.
golf. Have you
Sure.
ever seen a hole in one?
No.
Okay.
And the only hole in one I've ever done is at Pirates Putt Putt course at Warriewood.
Well, there you go. Well done there.
That
But
doesn't count because it's not on a golf course. I gotcha.
and technically, you could never play golf in your life yet.
No.
You can get a hole in one. Like it's not impossible for a complete amateur to get one.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's
I
not.
know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what else happened apart from the 147?
Well, we got two 147s.
Yeah,
You got two
beautiful.
147s in the one game. And I did Google it like statistically, like
Mm.
comparing it to a hole in one, which, is a lot more luck. Okay. And
Yes,
the other one,
yes.
a 9 dart finish in
Hmm.
darts, like finishing with 9 darts. But again, there's been, hundreds of those achieved. Like they're not like as rare as a 147. Like
Yeah,
someone might get one their whole life,
yeah.
for
Essentially, this guy's achieved something massive doing it back
it's
to
huge.
back.
It's huge.
Yeah,
And also to compare it to bowling, because I'm
yeah,
trying to keep Apple. You can't, there's nothing like snooker. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's a strategy,
Mm.
phenomenal strategy game, and
That's why I never played snooker. I've never had any strategy in sport
yeah.
or in life. That's why I'm on this
Well,
crappy
well,
podcast. But I do my best.
in bowling, Drewy, in bowling,
Yes.
you could if you bowl them all and get strike,
Mm.
strike, 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 it's called a 300 game, you know,
Yes.
and that's considered pretty amazing, right?
I
Yeah,
did get one of those once, but then the alarm clock went off and it was time to get up for work.
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
my point is there were 50,000 of those, recorded in history, like
sure.
they estimate it. So compare 50,000 to 185. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it's amazing.
it's amazing. It really is. So this Jackson Page got two
Mm,
147s. I'm going to stop talking
yeah,
about it. Okay, I know. Two 147s. So 15 reds, 15 blacks, then all of the colors. Okay.
yeah.
And they say that the chances in getting that is 1 in 5 million.
Well, it looks like people are going to have to continue to practice, watch the blueprint, and take a page out of Jackson's book.
That
All
that will
puns
never happen again,
intended.
Drewy.
No,
That will
that's
never
true.
happen again. No one will ever get that in our lifetime again. Never.
Huge,
Okay.
huge. Mate,
Well,
I'm excited. I'm
okay.
buzzing.
All
You
right.
can tell I'm
Okay.
stoked for it.
Okay.
That's cool.
Can I tell you the other huge thing
Yes,
that happened in sport this week?
absolutely.
Are you ready for it?
Please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
On April 13th,
Yeah.
2025, the man, Gout
Yes.
Gout.
Yes.
I've been talking about Gout Gout. I've been sending you stuff on Gout Gout. We've never actually talked about Gout Gout on the Red
Mm.
Hot Underdogs. I think it's high time we talked about Gout Gout, Drew.
Dad,
Okay.
I thought we were meant to
He's
talk.
an Aussie.
He's an Aussie.
Who's a
He's a
he's
sprinter,
a quick runner. Yeah.
the quick runner, and
Yeah.
he is the best there ever has been. Like he's better than Usain Bolt at that age. Like he's faster
Yeah.
than Usain Bolt was at that age.
Yeah,
Is
look, I've got a bit of a problem with this. I think it's good. I think it's something to be quietly excited
no,
about. Let's
why?
not go over
Why?
let's not go overboard about Mr. Gout Gout. I'll tell you why I've got a differing view. We've
Okay.
seen this story play out a million times before. Somebody's a massive prodigy. They roar onto the scene like a burning hot meteorite. And then when they get to the big stage, they don't quite measure up in the history of sport. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen,
Well,
but there's still a journey to be had. There
true.
is still a journey to be had. Enjoy it, get quietly excited,
Yeah. Okay.
get your green and yellow pom-poms ready,
Yeah.
but don't wave them yet until he finally lands the knockout blow in the
All right.
Olympics.
Well, look,
World records and whatever else
well,
might
he's got
follow that
records
we
to it.
want.
He's got
Yeah,
records, and you're
I know, but the big ones, the big scalps. You
okay.
know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
if you
true,
know what I'm saying.
true, true, true.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what he did. Okay.
Okay.
He April
Did he
3rd.
shoot a 147 before he ran or
He,
no, sorry,
he,
go.
his I missed that, but I'm sure that 147. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, like, is the running world smaller than the snooker world? Like, or
I don't know, but stick on Gout Gout's lane.
yeah.
What were you about to say?
I just want to say you can't call gout, gout, gout.
No, no, that's true.
Can you
That's
remember we
true.
used to say you can't call wagga, wagga, wagga?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You can't call
Well,
gout,
they've
gout.
changed a few things.
Yeah.
Coon cheese to cheer.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, the world's gone particularly woke, but
But
what do
don't
you
call
do?
gout, gout, gout. Okay. Now,
No, no,
gout,
okay.
gout. Okay. 13th of April, 2025. He won the Australian Open 200 meters, right? So just
Yeah.
recently, uh,
Mhm.
19.84 seconds. So it was fast,
Awesome.
like phenomenal achievement under 20.
Yes.
That. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard for you and I to comprehend how much faster he is than anybody else. So he's the second. It's the second fastest in of all time. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, you know,
Yeah.
no, no,
That's
just
good.
Why do you love sports so much?
good
That's
question. Why do I love sports so much? I don't know. I just love it. I just love it.
because the world outside of sport is just so ordinary,
Yeah,
boring, and dry.
I know. And you got all these
I like
dramas and this and that, and
Look,
suddenly,
you know what? It gives pathetic middle-aged men like us something to live for.
yep, it gives me something to
But
live
you
for.
don't actually play it. All you do is being lazy and talk about it.
That's true. I'm lazy.
That's true.
That is my sport.
But
This is my sport, talking about sport. That's right.
my only reply to that is wait 30 years
Yeah.
and see if you're in the same situation.
Yeah. Wait 30 years. Well, she's got to
Yeah,
wait longer than 30 years. She's 9. She's got
that's
to wait
true.
almost a bit under 40 years,
Yeah, but she'll be getting to that stage by
9 years, Drewy,
all
39.
good.
Okay.
All good.
Okay. I'll stop talking about Gout Gout, but his achievements are
Yeah,
amazing.
awesome.
He
And
is,
after he ran that time, legend does have it that he did go to the local pub and shot back-to-back 147s.
yeah,
So well done, Gout
well
Gout.
done, Gout
He
Gout.
joined his
Just
mate Jackson Page for a couple of skewies,
up
and they
to
all showed everyone exactly how it's
It's
done.
just the darts players that hit those beers, mate. It's
Yeah,
just the darts players. But up and coming, you got Los Angeles in 2028, you got
yeah.
2032 Brisbane Olympics. He is going to be there. Gout, gout.
He'll be
As long as
good.
he doesn't get injured, he is going to be there. So,
You know who else I want to give a shout out to?
um,
We,
no, that's it. I just want the biggest things in sport to happen were two
yeah,
147s and gout, gout, gout.
yeah. Well, at the back of last week, we actually were talking about the back end and the last day of the US Masters.
Yes, yes,
And Mr. Rory McIlroy ended up breaking an 11-year drought with his majors.
yes.
So, congratulations to you. He actually was tied at the very last hole with
Oh,
Justin Rose and needed to go into a playoff hole.
oh.
Now, in the playoff holes, they alternate between the 10th hole and the 18th hole because they're next to each other on the course.
Yeah.
So that way the crowd doesn't have to shuffle back and forth.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he won it on the first hole in the playoff hole series.
Okay.
So well done to him. And he actually becomes the sixth person. So that's his fifth major, and he becomes the sixth person to win the Grand Slam, which is winning all the majors you can win.
Okay.
Sixth person in history to do that.
Well, that's
So-
not many people that have done that, is it? Yeah, that's amazing.
No, so you've got the other people to do it were Gene Sarazan, who had 7 majors to his name, Ben Hogan with 9 majors to his name, Gary Player with 9 majors to his name, the greatest of all time, Jack Nicklaus with 18 majors to his name, Tiger Woods with 15 majors to his name, and finally, the Irish wonder, Mr. Rory McIlroy, wins his 5th major and gets a Grand Slam, a major. One thing I will say, they do win a green jacket.
Yeah.
If I was him and won that green jacket, I would never take it off ever again.
Ah,
I'd wear it in the shower. I'd
Yeah.
wear it to bed. I'd wear it to funerals, to
Yeah.
weddings. That
especially
thing's
in
not
Ireland
coming off.
where it's really, really cold. You need your jackets. In Ireland.
Yes,
Freezing there.
correct.
You know.
You ain't washing that sucker.
Okay. Drewy, did you want to do on this day, or did you want to do tips for next week?
Yes, so on this day,
Stay. Listen to this, Izzy.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
Stay.
She's just playing, the game. Okay. Yeah.
back in 1986,
Oh yeah, not too long ago.
I believe Michael Jordan scored the highest amount of points in a playoff game in the NBA, getting 63 points in one game
Wow.
against the Boston Celtics. Now, they actually ended up losing that series 3-0. So even though he got 63 points in that game, they still lost that game.
Well, you needed to play a sport where you don't rely on other people like snooker
That's
or
true.
running,
He essentially was the
Golf.
Chicago Bulls that day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the bull. The rest
He
were
was. But I don't think Mr. Jackson Page or even Gout Gout or God himself could have helped in that day.
Yeah.
And then, so I think it was in 2008,
Yep.
I believe it's IndyCar driver Danica Patrick beat the men to be the first woman to win an Indianapolis race.
What's the
So
name?
Danica Patrick.
Oh, okay. You
Yes.
could be
Very,
a car driver.
yeah.
You know?
Very attractive woman, absolutely left the men in her dust.
Yeah, in the dust.
So
Good one.
She
Yeah.
came first, and the men just never stood a chance. So well done to those people on this day.
Who ever said that women can't drive? Oh, hang on.
That's
I was me.
well,
You.
maybe there's one. Maybe Danica Patrick is the only one that can.
And I was in the car and we were dropping Izzy at school. And you should see the mums, they can't drive, honestly. Trying to park and there's this one driver trying to reverse park, and I said to her, women cannot drive, these mums cannot drive, Isabella. Women cannot drive. And
Say that.
do you know who gets out? Okay. And
Who gets out?
Who gets
Yeah.
out? A bloke gets out of the car with
The women.
with a manly hat on to make it worse. A manly
Yeah.
supporting bloke after me and my rude women can't drive comment.
You thought it was
And I
a
stand
woman.
by it. Yeah, you'll learn
Yeah.
one day, Izzy, that men are better driver than women. It's just life. It's part of life.
Wow.
It's just part of life.
Now, I don't know if Danica Patrick actually has kids, but if she did, and she drives them to school, I wonder if she pops out of the door with the helmet and the racing
Yeah.
gear on.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Absolutely. But no, that was on this day. The other thing that happened this week is 19-year-old Lachlan Galvin for the West Tigers turned down $6 million for 6 years. Now, that is absolutely crazy.
It is crazy. And the Tigers have said to him, see you later.
Yeah. I don't blame them. They're
Yeah,
like, mate, you're 19.
yeah,
We're paying you on potential. You
yeah,
haven't proved anything as yet. As much as the hype suggests you'll be a generational great, you've
yeah,
done nothing yet. You've
yeah.
shown a lot, but done nothing yet. And to turn down that kind of money at that age is crazy.
Crazy,
And
but it is possible that he is it possible. I'm asking you, Drewy, is it possible that he has made the right decision? Is it?
it's possible, but I tell you what I'd do though if I was him, because he's got Jerome Luai playing there, who has come from Penrith,
Yep,
four-time premiership winner.
yep,
Api Coruscant, I think he's won three premierships. I think he won one with South and two with Penrith. He's got Benji Marshall, who is a coach who's won a premiership and done it all. So it's not like he's in a side that's not building. They're building really nicely right
it
now.
is a team that you want to be part of, but
Yes.
yes,
Yes, they have, and not being cynical, I know they've been the butt of our jokes in the
yep,
past,
yep,
but the Tigers right now have more potential, maybe except for the Bulldogs,
yep,
than any other side in the entire
yep,
competition.
yep, yep, yep.
However, there could be other circumstances outside that we don't know about.
Mm,
Very easy to judge from the outside looking in. But if
yep,
I was him at 19 years of age, I'd be taking that deal. And guess what? In 6 years' time, if you don't like it at like 25 years old, you go, all right, I'll just move on to a new
exactly.
team because you're still young enough to do it.
Yep.
But for anyone who's a massive Lachlan Galvin fan, he won't be playing tomorrow for the Tigers, but you can catch him at 12 o'clock at Lidcombe Oval playing for the Western Suburbs Magpies.
Really?
Yes, and he'll be closely watched by his two most avid supporters, his mum and dad,
Yep.
James and Tracy Galvin.
Yep. Well, so they
So,
should be there, but they're not going to give him $6 million, are they? Was it 6 million?
no, they're not.
How much?
They're
How
not.
many million was it?
So
How
6 million for 6 years.
6 million, 6 years. Yeah, it's and being that young and getting that too. Anyway, we will
Yeah.
see. We will see. I think it's a bad
So
decision, but we will see.
I think so. And I know it's a cheesy thing to say, but this is one occasion where Lachlan hasn't galvanized the side.
Yeah.
So Lockie Galvin. I shouldn't say poor. He's making his own decision. What I will say is he does have till the end of next year remaining on his contract. I
Yeah.
don't know if he'll be there next year. They might release him at the end of this year, but they could be, really mean about it and
Mm.
just have him lingering in the Western Suburbs Magpies for the best part of 2 seasons if they really want to. I don't think they'll do that though. I think they'll trade him off and move him
I'll
on.
play him. Oh, well, I mean, if you got him, why wouldn't you play him? You know?
Yeah, look, I think it was a bit of a knee-jerk reaction from the Tigers. What they probably should have done is November 1 is the negotiating time where they mainly negotiate after the season. I
Yeah.
feel because the Tigers saw that he was such a good talent, they thought, well, we want to lock him up for several years beyond this. So they wanted to get in early before other offers were fielded
Mm.
on or past November 1. Unfortunately, it's backfired spectacularly.
Mm.
And I guess it'll just be a case of watch this space for Mr. Lachlan Galvin.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a complete sadist, but what I would find quite funny is if he decided to, obviously, he's rejecting going there because he's moving on.
Yeah.
If he was playing reserves and they went on to win the premiership this year. Now, I don't wish that on him.
Yeah.
It'd be even funnier if they won 2 seasons in a row without him.
Yeah.
Now, that probably won't happen, but gee, I don't think I'd be too upset if I saw it either.
Okay, Drewy. tips for next week. We've got under 4 minutes to go.
Okay.
The one I said I might be able to go to Thursday night, Suncorp Stadium, Broncos versus Dogs.
Who knows these days, but I'm going woof woof the doggy boys.
Yeah,
So
it's
go.
kind of fun following them. I kind of want them to lose because my neighbour goes for them, and I've got that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want them to lose for him, but I tell you what, it's good for rugby league, isn't it?
it is.
Dogs winning.
Bloody yeah.
Friday night, Roosters versus Dragons. Roosters home at Allianz Stadium.
I'm going the Dragons.
Yeah, wow.
I didn't think I'd say it. I just think they're starting to gain some momentum quietly and
Let's ask Izzy.
making a total mess of my pre-season predictions, might I add.
Hey, Izzy, who's going to win? The Roosters or the Dragons?
Dragons.
Dragons. There you go. She doesn't
There you
like the
go.
Roosters at all. How cool is she?
That is.
Okay, next one. Once were Warriors or Knights at that's Friday. Friday.
Yeah, I'm going. Well, they won this week. I'm going twice were Warriors, and I think they'll do it
In
over the
Christchurch.
Knights.
In Christchurch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Knights can't win. Knights can't win a bloody chook in a raffle at the moment.
Okay, Friday night, Storm versus Bunnies. Down there in Melbourne.
Oh, I'm going the Storm. Although I thought that the Bunnies were pretty disappointing this week, and the Storm got their ass handed to them too. But I just think that the Storm are a little bit too good.
Yep. Saturday night, early, 5:30, up at Townsville, Cowboys versus the Titans.
Oh, Cowboys. I'm not liking the Titans' trajectory right now.
Wow. Okay, that changed quick.
Yeah,
Beliefs and changed your mind.
I started to believe, but now I'm not. They're on a bit of a slippery slide.
Right, do you believe this? Okay, and I'm happy that this is happening now. Saturday
Yeah.
night, 7:30, Combank, so not really theirs, but out west, Panthers are playing the mighty Manly Seagulls. Izzy, let's ask Izzy first. Panthers, so her teacher goes for Panthers, and Manly Seagulls. Who's going to win, Izzy?
Let me see.
Manly Seagulls, that's correct. Okay, Drewy?
I've actually got the Panthers winning this one. I hate to look, I'm an avid Manly supporter. They're just breaking my heart too often right now. I'm a scorned lover. I'm not enjoying it.
I just don't want to lose 4 in a row.
Oh, I can see it happening anyway. Continue. What else have we got?
Sunday, 2 o'clock, less than a minute to go.
Yeah.
Raiders versus Dolphins, who are going so well.
I've got Dolphins. I like the Dolphins. They're good at gaining.
Sunday, 2 o'clock in Canberra.
Yeah, I'm going Dolphins.
Last game, Tigers, without your mate, without your $6 million man.
$6 million man. Do, 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 do. Yeah.
Tigers versus Sharks, 4 o'clock.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going Sharkies with no confidence.
Leichhardt Oval as well. Leichhardt Oval.
Yeah, I'll go Sharks with no confidence. There we go.
Joey, I wanted to call this episode, You Can't Call Gout Gout Gout.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Hey, mate, it's your show if you want.
It's your show. I just do the thumbnails,
Look out for 4 views off the back of that